Good morning and welcome to the sunrise safari, and quite the dramatic sunrise it is on this glorious Friday morning out here in the African bush. Quite spectacular. Good morning, yes, my name is Jamie and I have Wium on camera with me this morning. Heading out on Wendy will be Brent along with Jeandre, and then Stef and Dave and Herbert will be wandering about on foot looking for whatever small little wonders of the bush they can find. We are coming to you live from Plains Game Reserves in the Sabi Sands in the Greater Kruger National Park area of South Africa, so right up in the top of the northeastern corner of this beautiful country. And not only are we live, but we're also interactive, which means you can send through your questions on hashtag SafariLIVE on Twitter, or you can email them through to questions@wildearth.tv. And I think before we head off, we'll take one last look at this beautiful sunrise, just because it really is quite spectacular. And thank you to the cloud cover, because it's not even that cold this morning. It's around 14 degrees centigrade, in the mid-50s Fahrenheit. Not quite as chilly as it has been the last few mornings that we've set off. I've still got my hot water bottle though, tucked in my jackets, just to keep us warm, away from shelter us a little bit from the wind chill factor. And off we go. We'll be heading across to Cheetah Plains, hopefully. You never know, we might find a pangolin. It has happened before. But while we do that, Brent has found a jackal for you.
I don't. Oh. Look at this, we've got a beautiful little pair of a side-striped jackal before the sun is even up. And they're all foraging. Oh, let's just try and move forward, get a last look at them. Morning, my name is Brent Smith. This is Safari Live, and we've started off with one of the rarer little predators we get here at Jeandre, and they have disappeared into the thicket, but really great. So I think we saw some very interesting behavior, a bit of hissing at each other, a bit of growling. I think this could be the formation of a new pair, and that will be wonderful because they do stay in an area quite a lot, so they're likely to stay here around Sandy Patch. Oh, come on guys, pop out for another visit. There's that duiker, a little antelope just ran off there. There he goes across the road. We're not going to put the lights on him. So, we heard lions up to this northern area, in this northern area last night, so we're coming to check, see if there are any tracks on the boundary. And I have a Jeandre herding on camera with me today, and we're hoping to show you the wonders of the African bushveld. And it's quite chilly, but it looks like we're going to have a spectacular sunrise today. You can see it starting to form. We will show you a closer look of it once we get to the top of the hill, and we can look to east.
Oh dear, it seems as though Brent has disappeared off your screens once again. Wendy's still struggling every now and then with signal. Never fear, you are in the back of the vehicle with us in safe and capable hands, hopefully. And while you were with Brent, Wium and myself, we're actually just discussing the various bird species out here. Our signal is also a little bit shaky.
Sorry about this, everybody. Perhaps something has pushed over the Gowrie repeater, just like the elephants have pushed over this marula tree. Our technical team is rushing around madly trying to fix it, and we'll be back with you as soon as we can.
All the tech problems. The Gremlins are out on force on this morning. But I did say we're going to have a particularly pretty sunrise. And here we go. Jeandre is going to show it to you now. I'm just going to move the car a little bit. Don't have an aerial in your sunrise. Look at that. Isn't that just gorgeous? You can see how fast some of those clouds are moving. Sometimes just wonderful to take a moment's silence at the breaking of the dawn. Now, coming up behind that beautiful sunrise is possibly a little bit more ominous. And if we swing to the right slightly, here's a large bank. It looks like it's heading straight for us. We're sort of in this calm before the storm. Not sure if it's going to storm, but I definitely think it might bring some more overcast weather. Apparently there's a big cold front coming in off the eastern seaboard. And I think this is the beginning of it pushing through. The good thing about sitting and looking at the sunrise is it gives you a chance to listen for any of the big cats. Unfortunately, none are making any noise at the moment. We're going to continue our search for the big cats of Africa, and while we do that, it looks like Jamie's gremlins are sorted, so let's jump on board and see what she's up to.
Unfortunately, our gremlins are not entirely sorted, which means that whilst we will, of course, be looking for the big cats, we will be looking in a very limited area for now. And never know. There's no reason why they couldn't be coming around to the Vuyatela Dam. At the moment, though, the only large heartbeat that's about is this buffalo bull. We've seen him relatively regularly. I think he might be the buffalo with the injury on his shoulder that has healed up really nicely. It's on his right shoulder, so I can't see it at the moment. And when we first started seeing him a couple of months ago, he had an enormous hole right around the back of his shoulder blade that the ox pickers just kept worrying at. Oh, maybe it's not him. Looked like it might be him. I only ever recognized him thanks to that shoulder injury. The ox pickers seem to be clustered around that particular spot. And he is enjoying his morning breakfast. Generally the ruminants will get as much munching in as they can in the early morning. Apparently the sound coming from the microphone is quite low. My microphone is all fine. It seems to be absolutely working perfectly, so not sure what's going on there. It seems to be a morning full of gremlins. Hopefully we will be able to, at least the tech team will be able to bat them away. Okay, let me just think for a second about where I can go. Let's have one more look at our buffalo bull. Not the one with the injury. Hello, boy. Full of the typical bald spots around the face that most old Duggar boys have, and quite a few of the younger breeding herd cows and youngsters will also have. There's a couple of reasons behind them. One is just from the rubbing of the preorbital glands, so scent marking. The other is that buffalo are often prone to different types of skin disease, whether it be through fungal infections or through mange. Oh, and there we've got a sudden arrival of several oxpeckers. The juvenile two juveniles, very clear, with their black bills as opposed to the red bills, and their dark eyes. Very, very easy to spot a juvenile oxpecker. One in front starting to get the yellow eye. At the moment they're still doing what baby birds do best, which is begging from their parents, despite the fact that at this point they are relatively capable of finding their own food. They fledge in about a month or so. They go from newborn, newly hatched, right up to fully grown. There's an adult oxpecker for good comparison. Nice opportunity to just look at the way that their claws, first of all, manage to hold them at such peculiar angles. And then the stiffened tail feathers keep them upright, or help to keep them upright. And gently furrowing into the patches of skin that are most vulnerable to ticks. You see all the flies buzzing around as well. So despite the fact that winter is here, hasn't quite got to the point that the flies have disappeared just yet. Every now and then it just tickles ever so slightly. The buffalo shifts his skin. I was hoping that the juveniles might be a bit more inclined towards begging. At the moment they're focused on grooming themselves. Basically, the order of the day, the plan for the day in an oxpecker's life is to wake up, leave their nesting sites in dead trees and holes in trees, head out, find a host, and then pretty much spend the rest of the day traveling between that animal and to water. Because if you eat 1,000 ticks a day, that is a lot of blood and a lot of salt, and it makes oxpeckers very water-dependent birds. They need to sort of constantly travel backwards and forwards to drink. But if each oxpecker can eat 1,000 ticks, then if we've got 5 of them on here, that's 5,000 ticks, 6,000 ticks, give or take. Maybe let's not count the juveniles to be quite that high. So let's say there's 4,000 ticks that will be removed today just by the group of red-billed oxpeckers that we have here. I'm sure the buffalo will be exceptionally grateful for that service paid to him. And then, as always, the ubiquitous fork-tailed drongo, a little black bird that accompanies such large animal sightings, very commonly seen around any of the big animals because they disturb insects. And in turn, the fork-tailed drongo can flutter down and catch them. It's not very hard to see where the first part of the name came from, is it? And Kimberline has said that oxpeckers must have life pretty good. They've got an endless supply of food, because yes, certainly there will be an endless supply of ticks. Constant transport. No need to exercise. And certainly that very much seems to be the case as they flutter about their host. The only thing they've really got to watch out for is an irritated animal trying to swish their heads at them or flick their ears. One of the big reasons why they tend to focus around the neck and the leg area is that is where the ticks are. The worst of the tick infestations, of course, are in the most sensitive of the buffalo's areas. The difference there, of course, is that generally buffalo bulls tend, and most animals, tend not to be terribly tolerant of their attentions if they're focused around between their back legs. I think it's particularly uncomfortable for them. That's why that's always where the animals have the most ticks, and why generally you see the oxpeckers working around different areas. Look at his milky eye. I've seen a lot of buffalo with cataracts or with developing cataracts. Not necessarily that that is the case here, but it does look a little bit, it doesn't look very clear. There's definitely a blue tinge to it. And I sometimes wonder if that's not caused by impact with each other when they fight. Knocking their skulls together, the base of those really thick horns. He looks terribly confused. He doesn't quite know what to do. Shall we leave you, boy, so you can decide where you want to be? The good news is that whilst Brent and myself are beset by gremlins, there is a third party out this morning. Let's head over to Stef so that he can say hello.
Well, good morning to this morning's bushwalk, and have a look at how majestic that looks. It's another cloudy day today. It's not that cold. It's not as cold as it was yesterday. It's only about 40 or 50 degrees Fahrenheit at the moment, so it's not too bad. Have a look at the sun coming up over there. I'm Stefan Winterboer, and we're on camera with David, but we've got some signal problems, so we're going to send you back over to Jamie while we try and sort it out.
It appears as though I spoke somewhat too soon, and that the backpack is also struggling with signal this morning, so bushwalk also battling a little bit in terms of finding a good place to have signal. I apologize, I do just need to listen to the Game Drive channel. It's quite a long update, my apologies, but I do just need to listen to this. Andrew, sorry, what was it, CP open? Copy that. Thanks, Andrew. Good morning. We'll head there a bit later. Sorry about that, guys. I just needed to chat to Andrew. So basically, with our Game Drive communications, there's several vehicles out at any one point in time during the early morning and the afternoon. And what that means for us is that we try and communicate and make sure that we share as much of what's going on around us as possible. And Taxon just wants to chat to me now, so let me just hear what he wants to tell me. Go ahead, Tax. Morning, Tax. We're having problems with the movers, but I think hopefully I'm going to be heading to Cheetah Plains. I'm not sure where Brent's working. Basically, what Taxon was trying to ask me was where I'm going to be working this morning so that we don't cover the same areas of ground. Since I couldn't tell him where Brent was wondering about, let's find out from Brent himself what his plans are for the morning.
So we've given the sun time to rise by itself, and now we're looking for whatever creatures might be out here on the eastern front of Jeandre Private Game Reserve. And it's a bit quiet at the moment, and it's actually getting colder as that big cold front seems to get closer. But on a positive note, the cool weather could keep the cats moving a little longer. So this is an area we often find lion and leopard tracks. So we always want to check it extra carefully. And nothing today. Sarah Wood said she missed the Facebook Live catch-up last night. Was there a pangolin dance? We decided to hold the pangolin dance, and Dave and I are going to do a little more complicated video on the pangolin dance. So look.
And you're back on Rusty once again. We are struggling to find areas this morning where we have good signal. I'm going to try and get to Cheetah Plains, but it's going to be particularly tricky if we're the only vehicle that's out, because it means that we have to go through several dips before we get there. We just have to keep our fingers crossed that the Gowrie mast does decide to come back up. And again, I'm sorry, you've jumped on the back exactly when I need to talk on the Game Drive channel. It's just Stef telling us that there are zebra alarm calling around Impala Plains in that area. We're going to try and head across there rather. Trying to decide what's going to be best in terms of where we can take you so that you still have picture and not us on tech loop. And we had a sighting of the oxpeckers earlier that we chatted about on the back of the buffalo. Justin, you were wondering, do eagles and such things ever swoop down oxpeckers, since they seem like they would be really easy targets? And it's not something I've ever experienced. Now, typically, the bird of prey that would target an oxpecker would be something like a goshawk. Those sorts of birds, shikras, goshawks, that's the sort of the right size and speed. Otherwise, surprisingly, an oxpecker is relatively nimble when they have to be in terms of escaping away from birds of prey. I've never seen it, Justin. I don't know whether any of the other presenters have. It does, I can understand what you're saying. It seems like it would be a relatively easy way of grabbing something, but perhaps the presence of such a large animal with the oxpeckers is enough to intimidate the bird of prey. Perhaps that landing, ambushing birds, when a bird of prey does that, a raptor does that, what they generally do is they come at high speed and they bash the bird concerned into the ground. Now, it would be very tricky for them to pluck them off the back of an animal and not run the risk of that big animal changing direction or injuring themselves in some way. So maybe that's why they don't do it. I've never seen it. All right, over to Brent, something exciting.
We've just seen a honey badger go off the road here, and he was scuttling off. Not too fast, so we're just moving very slowly. So he wasn't running, he wasn't disturbed yet. there's a whole myriad of little holes and stuff in there. It's an old aardvark den, and he might have gone to inspect.
Dear, it seems as though Brent really struggling for signal this morning. How lucky has he been? A pangolin and a honey badger sighting in 2 days, in 2 consecutive drives. We have been extraordinarily lucky with the small and nocturnal animal sightings, the more unusual of animals to see out here. We've had African wildcat, we've had pangolin. All right, he's got signal again, back to Brent.
So we found the honey badger. It just went down one of those holes. Where Jeandre, as you see that little bit of red soil to the right of the tree, he should pop out again now. We're just going to move forward slightly to hopefully catch him as he comes out of that hole. Or her. I haven't actually had a good enough look to decide whether it's a male or female. How's that, Jeandre? So you see that little patch of red sand there? There's a hole there that the honey badger has disappeared into. And hopefully it's going to be coming out any second now, unless it's found something good to eat down there. And it is incredible, this dry season, we are going to get some incredible sightings of stuff we don't see too much of. Firstly, because it's dry and there's food pressure. Secondly, because there's very little grass for them to hide behind. Come on, Mr. Honey Badger, out of the hole now. Or Miss Honey Badger. The patience game. Come on, honey badger. Now there is a possibility might be denning there. Unlikely. More than likely, it's just gone down to see if it can get something to eat. Making us play the patience game. Jeandre's at the ready. I've got my camera in my lap. We're sitting here. Could have found something nice to eat down there. As I said, it could also be denning or sleeping there. But it didn't look like it. It definitely looked, while we watched it moving, like it was on the forage. So I don't want to turn away from the whole, but Jeandre is watching over my shoulder. But so, believe it or not, we've actually had a real serious little carnival morning. So unfortunately, while we were having tech difficulties, we actually saw 2 African civets. We've seen 2 side-striped jackal to start, and now we've seen a honey badger, and we really hope we're going to get to show you the honey badger if it decides to come out of this hole it's gone into. Now, the problem is sometimes these holes have multiple exits. I'm just trying to make sure it doesn't come out of another hole. Well, Katrina says we've had way too many good sightings recently. We've been spoilt, so the Gremlins decided they need to have a little say in what's going on. Let's try. I'm just going to try have a look if we are in the exact best position while he's still under the ground there. I want to also make sure there's no other bolt hole out of that hole. I think we were in the best spot. Janet's wondering, what is a honey badger's diet? Well, Janet, it's a true omnivore, a very mixed diet. It'll eat a lot of little rodents, insects, scorpions, baby birds, birds' eggs, if it can, even baby scrub hairs, anything it can catch and eat. How's that, Jeandre? I'm just saying, just in case, or would you prefer a bit further back? Forward. So you can actually have a look at that very red soil there. Now that's been dug out. And as I said, it might be using this as a spot to snooze. But just from its general behavior, the way it was moving, I don't think so. Yes, Jeandre is laughing. We had such nice visuals of it when we went black screen, and then as soon as we come back, it disappears down a hole. So Herbert, you're spot on, just as I was saying. They do sleep underground, but I just think that from the way he was moving, it looked more like he was foraging. And they are going to be foraging later. It's also a very cool morning, so they might be foraging throughout the day. In winter, you do see a lot more honey badgers out during the day. How brave am I feeling, Jeandre? Brave enough to go have a look? I'm going to go have a look. So if I come yelping and running back towards the car, we all know the honey badger is going to be chasing me. So also, if I go have a look now, what it's going to do is I can see if there's multiple sets of tracks going in there, and if they are seeing it, using it as a den site, which also means it's a really good place to look for them in the early morning. I think he's gone to sleep. So he's gone in there, but we definitely have to come check here towards the end of the sunset safari for when he wakes up. But it looks like he's gone to sleep. It's a really deep hole, originally excavated by Aardvark. I'm quite happy it didn't come barreling out towards me, but at least we know. So we're not going to go sit here for the next 3 hours waiting for the honey badger to pop its head. I'm pretty sure he's gone to sleep in that hole. So hopefully we can find him on the sunset safari. Okay, so while we move, and we're going to try to get back towards better signal area, let's go to Jamie, who's got some pachyderms.
On our way to Cheetah Plains, we have come across a wonderful breeding herd of elephant. They are moving about in very thick bush, and they seem to be, the little ones at least, the young elephants seem to be quite unsettled. We'll see if we can't find a nice view for you. There's a couple of really beautifully large females in that herd. And we are going to have to move out of the way anyway. There's a vehicle that's coming up behind us. So let's shift now while we have the opportunity. We'll see if we can't get a better view of our elephants first thing in the morning from a different angle. There's definitely, I keep hearing a car coming up behind me. And just as we get up to this female, have a look at her incredible tusks. Hopefully she decides to show them to us. A big girl. Sorry, Wium, I know I'm putting us at an awkward angle. But it just gets us off the road enough for any vehicles to come past. Let's see as she turns. You can see just how beautifully curved her tusks are. Definitely one of the older females in this herd. And the wonderful thing about this camera is that we get such a fantastic perspective on the different parts of an elephant. She's quite an old girl. She's quite thin, her bones are showing through. Not thin, she's just lost a lot of elasticity in her skin, which means that her bones become more visible and more prominent. She just loses that little bit of subcutaneous fat. There you can see her hip bones and her spine quite prominent. That's much less clear in a younger elephant. Oh, we've got two young bulls here that have decided to have a little bit of a scrap. Equal sized, but one very much more fortunate in the tusk department than the other. And I think you'll find that that young male probably backs down. Oh, no. Yeah, he's back down. He just doesn't quite have the tusks to match. Some landscaping happening in the background. You just hear the crunching and the cracking of the trees. I'm sure I recognize this herd. I'm sure that I've seen them before. It's the nice thing about working somewhere for an extended period of time is that you really get to know not just the leopards and the lions, but also the individual elephant herds. One young bull has decided to be comfortable enough. Oh, you lost the fight with the other guy. Are you going to kind of try and come and take it out on us, or are you just interested in whatever's there? Ah, I think you just smelt something nice there. You can hear the beeping happening. That's the VR rig preparing to record. Since we do have a lovely Ellie in close proximity, we're going to be chatting a little bit about that. So, look right in front of us. You can see a young male elephant who is currently shifting the branches away, out of his way, so that he can get to the plant life underneath it. Giving it a good sweep to clear the dust before he puts it into his mouth. This beautiful morning, of course, it's not just us that are interested in viewing the elephants. We've got a whole herd all around us. Right across, if you look to the left, you'll see a big female feeding a couple of meters away. A lovely, peaceful sighting. And I think that pretty much draws to a close our virtual reality segment. So I'm just going to clap quickly to sync the sound.
Oh, never mind.
Oh.
One camera dropped out.
Oh, well, never mind. VM says one camera dropped out. So everything's beset by gremlins. Good morning. Good morning. This is going very well.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Jeandre. Yeah.
Hey, Wium.
What's up?
How you doing?
Good.
Nice elephants.
Yes, lovely elephants. We're going to try and get to
Did you hear that update from Andrew?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to keep moving, we're happy to look after the elephants for you.
Will you take care of our elephants?
We'll take care of the elephants. Make sure they behave themselves.
Have you got signal?
I don't know. Do you have signal here? That's probably the first question one should ask.
At this point. We'll keep looking at the elephants for now while we work out whether or not Brent and I can swap around so that I can shoot the planes.
Do you think we've got signal here, Jamie?
I don't know, Brent. You could have actually.
Not sure.
On
Every time we moved 5 meters, we lost signal, and unfortunately that went down a hole.
Okay. Apparently we have strong signal.
You have strong signal.
We have strong signal, so we'll stick with our elephants.
Okay,
and we'll go
we'll
forward
keep
a little
moving
bit.
back towards camp.
Yeah. All right. Good luck.
Okay.
Cheers.
Bye, guys.
Bye. We're gonna stay with our Ellies for now and just see what they're up to. There are things to look for on cheetah plains, but we've got a lovely herd of elephants for now. Look at that delicate mouthful she's just taken. Really concentrated quite hard on chewing that. Now, the reason she's doing that, it could well be, is that she might be grinding down one set, or has ground down her final set of teeth. I don't think she's quite that old, but essentially an elephant is given 6 sets of teeth in its life. And those are replaced regularly throughout its 60 odd years, 50 to 60 odd years of life. And an elephant actually starts to lose condition when they get to that 6th set of molars. You can imagine what kind of impact constant eating has on their teeth. Constant eating, and it's not exactly like it's soft custard and jello. It's serious food that they're crunching on. Just imagine how that grinds down their teeth. And I think that's why this female is eating as carefully as she was just now. I think that her teeth have been worn down, and she may well not have the next set to replace them. She might be on her final set of teeth. As she gets older and as she starts to struggle more and more, she'll start moving towards the riverbeds and the places where there's soft food. At the moment, monkey orange definitely isn't the easiest food for an elephant, even an elephant, to eat. First of all, it's not very nice, and second of all, it's distinctly uncomfortable. It's very hard wood and very spiny wood. She'll move to areas away from her herd when she can no longer keep up with them, to rivers where their food and the reeds are nice and soft. And that in turn is actually what's led to this myth of elephant graveyards. It's because old elephants that die of natural causes, a lot of them congregate around rivers because the food is soft, and eventually they just can't sustain themselves anymore, and they lose condition to the point that one of the conditions of old age will cause their death. And then there's a big flood that washes the bones downriver, and they all collect in one place. Now we have a question about an elephant's nutritional needs. It's actually something we spoke about yesterday. So Herbert says, you were wondering about how does an elephant get the calcium that it needs to maintain such large bones? And the answer is there's a lot of calcium in the plant food that they eat. They will also practice what's known as geophagy, in places where they will eat rock or lick at salt in order to get their mineral needs. And there will be calcium in some of the salt areas. And then we spoke about this yesterday. One of the viewers asked us a question on our Facebook Live after drive as to whether or not we have ever seen elephants eat bones. And both Brent and myself said no, but Stef said that he has seen them eat bones before. I've seen them put them into their mouths once or twice, almost like it's out of curiosity. but I haven't seen them chew on them and nibble on them in the same way that I've seen nyala and giraffe do. But that practice is known as osteophagy. Like geophagy, just osteo, bones. They'll munch on those and that will supply them with their calcium needs. Look at that little hole in her ear. Perfect little piercing. And there's something to that gentle walk of an elephant that is so peaceful to watch as the pads of their feet stretch out. Let's try repositioning, but most of our herd has moved off into the thick bush. Jeandre in Illinois, welcome to the Sunrise Safari. As always, we've been looking at the tusks of some of the elephants, and of course our lovely lady here is not the best example of what it is you're talking about, but we'll try and get a nice view of her anyway, just because she's been so obliging. You have to wonder what an elephant like this has seen in her life. Let me try and get ahead of her ever so slightly. Jeandre has been observing the tusk growth of the elephants out here, and has said that she's noticed that some of the elephant tusks grow downwards in the manner of the forest elephants. I was wondering whether or not there's a chance that they have crossbred. There's always a chance in nature, of course, but it's highly, highly unlikely. South Africa has a very small population of what have been classified as forest elephants towards the Tsitsikamma region and the Eastern Cape. Eastern and sort of northern part of the Western Cape along the coast. And it's a very, very isolated population. Now, most of the forest elephants live in Central Africa, the Gabon areas. And I know exactly what you mean when you talk about the shape of those tusks. They've got very straight, very pointy tusks that point directly downwards. I don't think, however, that our elephants have that result. Of course, the forest elephants and savanna elephants are essentially come from the same ancestor. So the genetics that's programmed for those straight downward pointing tusks will be present in the savanna elephants as well. It's just that the environment in which the forest elephants evolved is more favorable, obviously selects for that particular genetic strain, over with the savanna elephants having these pointed, curved tusks that our female has in front of us. Oh, that's not a very nice tree to go and eat, big girl. She's now decided to tackle a sickle bush. Didn't expect her to come forward like this, actually, but there you go. Wandering away from the rest of her family. Now, is she still of an age that she is the matriarch in this herd? She's definitely one of the oldest. But I think that she's got to the point that she is so old that the matriarchy has passed on to one of the other elephants. She might never have been the matriarch, of course. But whilst we often say that the matriarch is the oldest elephant in the group, that's not always exactly true. It's definitely one of the older females. But it gets to a point where a matriarch does actually get a little bit too old to be leading a herd, and at which point she'll pass the leadership down either to her daughter or one of her younger sisters, something similar, sort of along those lines. And elephants are so complex that it's impossible for us to put a general rule to it. But she's moved completely away. The rest of the herd is still across to the left. Elaine, we had that beautiful sighting of a close-up of her lower lip, and Elaine was wondering, is there a reason why elephants have so much hair around their lower lips, around their mouth? And yes, if you think about it, think about where an elephant's eyes sit and then they've got this enormous bulk of their trunk, and then their lower jaw kind of sticks out here. Now we struggle as it is to see down to below our chin, but we've now got hands and knives and forks, so feeding ourselves is relatively easy. But for them, navigating these thorn trees in a way that they get the branch, put it into their mouth, dodge the bits that they want to dodge, get the bits that they want to eat, is all helped, or the hairs on the end of the mouth actually help to control that. They're sensitive like whiskers, so it allows them a feel of what their mouth is doing rather than necessarily being able to see it. Here comes our young boy again. Here's that spiny sickle bush that we chatted about earlier. It's interesting how the plants have evolved to have big spines and thorns and things that are meant to make them uncomfortable to eat, and the elephants have evolved to completely disregard such things. There's absolutely no bother to them. Even a young elephant like this little bull, he's the one. If you look at his tusks, he's the one that lost the battle with the other young bull. Well, time to focus on that sickle bush as well. I have many scars from that tree throughout my time in the bush, and yet even a young elephant that you would expect to be slightly more sensitive isn't terribly bothered. Although he's been quite delicate about his consumption of this tree. Just picking away the green leaves. Oh, okay. What was that all about? I'm not sure about all of you out there, but I never ever get tired of watching the way in which an elephant goes about its feeding process. Elephants are never boring to sit and watch. That delicacy of the way in which they move their trunk, wrapping it around the leaves, and the knowledge that that trunk is capable of such power and yet such delicacy at the same time. Just plucking the leaves one by one here. He's totally avoiding the spines of the tree. He's going to cross to find Grandma or Great Aunt, or however she happens to be related to him. Just bear with me while we watch this peaceful scene play out. Brent is trying to just get hold of me. Standing by. Copy that, thanks Brent. Yeah, we'll make our way there now. Hey, there's a lovely water buck across the road. Copy, thanks. Confirm it's controlled on Western Channel. Okay. Things have changed. The plans have changed. And we're heading across to the west instead of the east. I don't want to scare the eddies though, so let's just find a nice turning around spot. We have exciting news. The Nkuhumas are hunting buffalo on Arathusa. So we're going to head across in that direction and see if we can't join that sighting. We might have to wait for a little bit. Brent has booked us a position on standby 1 just because he doesn't have signal. So we're going to go and take his place at that sighting. So a big thank you to Brent, who's sorted us out. We might not be able to get to Cheetah Plains, but we can get to the Nkuhumas. But you're all going to have to hang on, because we're going to have to Ferrari safari there, or else we're going to lose our spot at that sighting. When you really feel the brisk bite of the cold morning air. And what it means when I say that I'm on standby, in order to reduce the impact that we have on the animals, there's a restriction to the number of vehicles that can be with an animal at any one point in time. And that number is usually 3. But if a guide sees that it's an extra sensitive area or it's an extra sensitive animal, then that can be dropped to 2 or even to 1 vehicle at a time that gets to see the animal. And it's a very good way of making sure that the animal is not overcrowded during a sighting. So everybody takes their turn, you get to line up and take your place in that queue. We've got the first place to take after somebody leaves. How are you doing back there, Wium? Freezing. The excitement. Might not be a leopard, but it's a big cat. It's a big cat potentially hunting buffalo. And it's been a while since we've seen the Nkuhuma pride. Pride of 5 lionesses, but in this case I think it's safe to say we can expect to see maximum of 4, since one of them has given birth to 3 cubs on Torchwood and is currently denning them there. I'm not entirely sure exactly where the lions are. I have to get closer in order to find out. But I know that they're somewhere around Triple M. So what boundary of Jeandre, Gowrie, Maine. And then we're going to, as soon as we get to the corner, we're going to head straight north and start making that direction. So we're speeding along here. And there you go. Just a little bit of a rough idea as to where it is we're going and what it is we're racing to. I'm just listening as well with half an ear to the Game Drive channel so that I can hear what's happening and where those lionesses are going. It sounds as though there's only 3 of them. And I wonder if that wasn't where Stef heard the alarm calls coming from. Maybe they were responsible for scaring those zebra first thing this morning. Oh. And there's always that feeling of anticipation and excitement. I get to see the Nkuhuma lionesses once again. It's been a long time since I've managed to see them. But my hot water bottle's not quite doing its job at this speed. Hunching double in the front. Eyes streaming, nose streaming. And of course, on a morning like this morning with these kind of temperatures, the big cats are going to be moving around for much longer. And James Richards, you were wondering, you were saying, you know, that the windy cold weather is an advantage to the big predators, but can the same be said for the smaller predators? Will they be more active as well? And the answer is yes, absolutely. It applies across the board to all of the predators and also to most of the nocturnal, hyena, most of the nocturnal species. It was not a hyena, it was a hyena's tracks in the road. But I had to slow down just to check that it was not a leopard track that I was about to obliterate in my high-speed movement. So James, yes, it applies across the board for all predators, but also, as I was saying earlier, it applies to the things like pangolins, aardvarks, honey badgers, all of those animals that are typically nocturnal, even porcupine, are typically nocturnal. On a cold morning like this morning, they will be more prepared to be active for longer and also come out earlier in the afternoons. One of the reasons why you got to enjoy that pangolin sighting with Brent yesterday afternoon on the sunset safari in the middle of the afternoon. It's one of the reasons why, despite the cold and despite how we moan and shiver, okay, well, I moan and shiver, everybody else is quite stoic about the whole deal. It's one of the reasons why we still absolutely love winter as a season. We've got a far better chance of seeing mysterious animals like that. We're going to stop and just look at these hornbills because it gives me a chance to just chat on the Game Drive channel. We've arrived right at the corner of Gowrie Plain and Cheetah Plains. Right, I must get my radio microphones not confused. Ryan for Jamie. Copy that, thanks very much. Standing by on Triple M. Brent for Jamie. Brent, I can't copy the lock clearly. I'm standing by on Triple M. I can hear whether or not I get called in, but I can't hear where they are exactly. Copy that, perfect, thank you. Alright, well, we've got to wait our turn now. We're on the right road, we just can't actually go and join just yet. So we're going to hang out and see what else we can find in this general vicinity. It was worth the rush though. They're just over the crest ahead of me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop onto Arathusa. We're going to hang out here until it comes time for us to take our place in that sighting. And of course, no morning would be complete without a cup of South African Milo. I'm not sure, I know I used to be able to get Milo in the UK. I don't know if anybody can get Milo in America. As far as I know, it's a South African drink. Oh, initially, it's of South African origin. And it's like hot chocolate, but 10 times better. Sorry guys, I have to stop. I have to try and listen to what's happening on this Game Drive channel. Just to make sure that we don't miss when we get called in. And just to keep you updated on what's happening. Justin, as we raced across to this sighting, you were wondering, when driving around the game reserve, is there a general agreed upon speed limit? The standard speed limit of most reserves, and this reserve included, is between 30 and 40 kilometers an hour, which converted to miles is, what's that, 30 to 40 is about 12 to 15, 12 to about 17 miles per hour. Now, that speed that I did now was close to about, I would say about 30 kilometers an hour, so still very much under the speed limit. But yes, and there'll be differences. Like on this kind of road, this is not one of the main access roads. It is a little bit more than a 2-track. And in that kind of case, you'd be cruising along at about 20 or so, about half the general maximum speed. That being said, there are certain areas where those speed limits are higher, particularly in the Kruger National Park where the roads are tarred. That's generally at around 50, and certain vehicles are exempt from that and can travel up to 60 to 80 kilometers. They can go a bit faster because they work and they have to do things within the park itself, which means you have to cover ground. You don't have a choice. The speed limits are very important. They're there for the animals' safety, they're there for people's safety. And it's something that everybody is very, very conscious of. There's also, of course, there's limits to the time of day in which you can be traveling around in the reserve itself, and that is largely for anti-poaching measures. It didn't used to be that way. You could travel through the reserve at any time you like. But for most reserves, first of all, there's a gate closing time, and then second of all, there are, for us at our camp, we have to be home by 10:30 to 11. Sorry, I'm trying to listen with half an ear at the same time. No way. Oh, I thought it was a Sharps Facebook for a second. So yes, there's a curfew for us, and what that means is that the anti-poaching team doesn't have to focus their attentions too much on following up on lights or vehicles moving about at night, but then just turn out to be people moving in the dark between lodges or between parties, so that they don't waste their time and their resources. Just doing a very large loop around, waiting to be called in. Unfortunately, I can't hear clearly. But I do have some interesting impala rutting action. There's just elephants everywhere. As you know, bringing you live safaris from the middle of the African bush is not always the easy. Alright, well, we're back once again. and I'm still trying to find these lions. It's been relatively tricky to dodge elephants and to try and find them at the same time, especially since the directions were slightly off as to where exactly they were. But we're getting there, we're getting there. Doug's desperately trying to call me in. He's been waiting patiently. He's now getting slightly frustrated that we haven't managed to join them. We did get held up though by the cutest baby elephant. I swear that that thing must have been only a couple of hours old, if that. It was so tiny and so wobbly, but I didn't want to stick around. First of all, because we're due at the lions, and second of all, because Mom was a little bit unsettled. She was quite stressed out, as you can imagine if she'd just had a baby. But we left them be for now. It was an absolutely adorable little one. Apparently these lions are on the move. I'm just going to move relatively quickly. Okay, so now we're looking for off-road tracks. They look like they've come through here. Doug, sorry, just confirm how far along Parallel Road you are. Copy. Copy that, thank you. Alright, here we go. Doug just telling me he could hear our little car, as he described it. And in comparison, we are very much smaller than everybody else out here, about half the size. Oh, which is very convenient at times. Okay, tracks. Tracks are looking this way. This way. I understand now why you said it's going to be tricky. Copy. Doug's telling us to stop. There's buffalo here. They're going to walk out right in front of us. And apparently the lions are looking with great intent in their direction. So we've arrived at the perfect time. We're just going to have to stop here for now. I can't see the lions, but we know that they are here. They are in the process of hunting. So look out for tawny shapes sneaking towards them. Now we don't run any risk of upsetting the hunt. The reason I say that is because these buffalo have been hunted for a long time. The lions this morning have been after them for hours. And they're just trying to exhaust them, get the buffalo herd to make a mistake. So it's not that the lions don't know where the buffalo are, or the buffalo don't know where the lions are. They know that they're there. It's just a matter of what they're going to do from here, which means that we can just shuffle forward ever so slightly so that we've got an ever so slightly better view. This is very reminiscent of that sighting that we had many months ago with the 3 Nkuhumas. They're just not... Okay, stop here for now. Buffalo walking. going straight towards where Doug is telling me the lions are. One of the other rules in terms of entering a sighting like this is that only one vehicle repositions at a time. So we're going to be leapfrogging each other to try and get a view of what happens here. And we are unfortunately going further and further into Arethusa. And the Arethusa tower is down, which means that we could disappear again, but we're going to try and stay with you for as long as possible. The buffalo going straight towards the lions once again. Can reposition. You see one female. What's she doing, Wildy? Cool. Go forward a little bit. I want to be in the right place for when they decide, if they decide to run. Just watch the antenna there. Where's that female?
Crossing the track.
Okay. I don't want to scare the buffalo at all. This doesn't look like a breeding herd of buffalo. It looks like we've got several big males, at least on the outskirts. A group of 3 lionesses. There's a good chance that they will be a little bit out, or it might be too small a number for them to actually physically hunt a big dugger boy. They need a big, powerful male for that. There she is. There we go. We've got one in Nkuhumas. Looking carefully for the other. Apparently, the others are just in front of us, where we can't quite see them. No, sounds like there's a breeding herd in here as well. You can see that alertness level from the lioness. There we go. We've seen this scene play out before. Game of patience. Here comes the third lioness. And they're just following. This, from listening to the Game Drive channel, this is what they've been doing all morning. It's a game of patience when there's only 3 lionesses. And they've got to wait for that moment when a sub-adult or a calf is stuck on the outskirts of the herd. Just be quiet for the moment and just watch her stalk. Just the mooing of a harassed buffalo. Moments like this feel almost frozen. It's like time stands still as you wait for them to play out. Listening now, I can hear buffalo all around them. So they've picked their spot well, but they're going to struggle to pick off one vulnerable calf. the herd will have to make a mistake. Lioness in the background. Not all that oh, the other one's moving now. They are looking hungry. Empty bellied. We've seen them do this before, just by sheer determination. She's stalking through, she's watching, she's thinking about going for him. She's just disappeared right into that drainage line. Just saw her tail disappearing. Apparently these lions have been doing this all morning. It looks like amber eyes to me. Okay, she's going to follow on with the rest of the group. This reminded me very much of that hunt that we had not all that long ago, where the Nkuhumas chased the buffalo up from the Jeandre Dam. I heard very funny noises, and then I realized it was a guest on one of the other vehicles coughing on the other side of the drainage line. Copy. And while we try and sneak through here, Anna Marie, you were wondering about the lioness that's just had her cubs and whether or not she will hunt on her own. And the answer is, you okay back there, Wium? Oh, that VR rig. Should be fine. Sorry, Anna Marie. We'll get back to you in a moment. I'm just trying to concentrate on getting through and making space for Doug. He is behind us. Where is going to be best? One there, one there, one there. Counting lions. Going to be a temporary position. That's not very good. Let me just let Doug go ahead and around me. We are going to reposition in a moment. Just want to turn my engine off. Apparently some of you are just joining us and wondering what it is the lions are so focused on. The answer is a herd of buffalo. They're hunting a herd of buffalo. That's what they're after. And they're split up because of it. It's the Nkuhuma lions. They're spread all around us. And since this isn't the best position... Oh, I can hear the buffalo moving. Anna Marie, I haven't forgotten about your question. But at the moment, all we can see of the lions is their whiskers. The lioness that has just had her cubs will hunt. She'll be more than capable of hunting for herself. But if the rest of the pride goes close to that area, then she will actually come and join them if they have a kill, and then move back to her cubs. She's got about a 6-week period in which she's going to be moving between the den site and then back to the rest of the pride before she introduces her cubs to the rest of the group. The other lioness is lying up in a quarry thicket not too far away. I just don't want to put my vehicle between the lionesses. I want to put it in between their eye line because, as you know, there's a great level of coordination between the rest of the way in which lions hunt and the way in which they coordinate their hunts. This could go on for hours, though. This could well go on for hours without any result. Of injuries there around her eyes. So, one in Nkuhumas is denning, one is mating with one of the Birmingham boys. There's at least 2 Birmingham boys with the Styx females on to the south of Hoffman's on vessels. We're doing quite well of keeping track of the various lions out here. I actually can't really find a place. Oh, there's the lioness. She's just got up, the other 2 are going to follow. She's stalking again. I wonder if that's the sub-adult. I've noticed a lot with this pride and with other lions that the sub-adult usually initiates the hunt. Hard to tell. Imagine how the buffalo feel. There's safety in numbers, but they've been harassed for hours on end. That constant risk of something racing out of the bushes to grab them. Imagine how scary it must be. The other lionesses still not up just yet, but they will be soon. Smell buffalo everywhere. Oh, there we go. One is up. The progress of the other female. Justin, you were wondering if lions are able to see in colour. Look at that stalk. Very rapid forward movement. The answer is yes, they can to an extent, not nearly as well as we can. Their colour vision is very, very limited, but they can see a little bit of colour. There we go, there goes the 3rd lioness. You can follow behind her in a moment. I'm getting to the edge of a very tricky drainage line, which is good for them. They might well decide to box the buffalo into a corner around that very steep drainage line wall. Okay, let's reposition now while we have the chance. Still there, still around. Let's go forward a bit. There they go, they're running. There they go. She's going for that one. Oh, and over. It was a very good try. But she just didn't quite manage to get there in time. The lion is very careful about the way in which... Oh, that was very exciting. Lion is really careful not to waste her energy engaging in a pounce that isn't going to work, isn't going to follow through, especially without the other lions around her. Now we could see, are the buffalo going to come back and chase this lioness? They're all around Red Dam. There she... And now, that could well all be part of the lioness's game. She scared the buffalo. They're panicking. That panic in turn is what's going to work to her advantage, or could well work to her advantage. So they're going to just keep pushing them until the buffalo make a mistake. And then that's going to be the moment when they can actually strike. I don't know where the other two are. And they went down into the drainage line. I can't see them either. Wium's helping me keep an eye on them. There comes the lioness back again. And time to regroup and replan. Okay. I'm just thinking about what's going to be the best way. We need to get down to Red Dam. There are other people that will want to come into the sighting, but we're going to try and stay for as long as possible before it's time for us to leave. We've got a good chance here that those lions are going to catch something. There's one lying down. The female that initiated the hunt. This is an incredible scene all this morning. Panicked buffalo everywhere, and the lions just patiently waiting their turn. The action has died down for now. Hold on, there's a female that's up now. She's also watching. I'm just going to stay here for one moment. While we reposition, we're going to take a moment to get ourselves in the best possible place to watch what's going to happen with these lionesses. While we do, it seems as though Brent is up and running for the moment, so I'm going to send you onto the back of his vehicle, but I promise you as soon as anything happens, he'll be back with us very quickly.
We're back, and hopefully we're not going to disappear again. Eugene did some magic in the back, and we're out. So exciting lion hunt with the Nkuhumas. I'm a little jealous, I won't lie, but we're going to continue on, see what else is out here. I am keeping my ear peeled to the eastern channel, see if there's any sign of Karula heading back towards us. And it's one of those funny days. I'm not sure whether it's going to clear nicely or the cloud's going to come in again. But regardless, at least we know the Nkuhuma ladies are around. We must have crossed right up at the gate last night because there were no tracks all around this area. We do apologize. There have been Gremlins about.
Brent.
Sorry guys, I've got lots of radios here. Standing by.
Brent, with a view of anywhere in Jeandre, this must be Karula. And yeah, but she was somewhere deep inside with saying, so I'm gonna see where my colleague is, and then otherwise I'll go inside.
Really exciting news. It sounds like there's just been a visual of Karula crossing into our area. Copy, thanks Andrew. Yeah, I'm gonna come into that area and give you a hand. Vuya's access at the moment. Junction Impala Road. Okay, so it sounds like they've just had a visual of Karula crossing around Twin Dams. So we're going to go have a look, see if we can find those tracks, and hopefully we'll find the Queen of Jeandre. So I think it was Bob who was wondering, why do a lot of the trees and bushes... Oh, cancel that, across to Jamie with lions on the hunt.
Well, not much has changed here. The lionesses are still stalking in the drainage line, and a buffalo bull watching them intently on the other side of it. The other side of this river system. We've got an age-old battle here of two ancient enemies. And buffalo are still mooing in distress. It's a very big buffalo for that lion to think about tackling. But he could well decide to chase her. I don't think he's going to. He's got the safety of the whole... Oh, something's happening on that side. We're going to leave this lioness for now. Vehicles don't generally race off. I think he's just gone through the dam. Okay, no, that's all right. I think that was just a race to get from the other side of the mud. But we've actually got a better vantage point from here. Like, that lioness is not going to tackle that buffalo bull. There's one at the water's edge. Everybody duck. Yeah. Oh, back there. Cool. There we go. She can hear the other buffalo calling, mooing. See just how interested she really is in a little face, or Amber Eyes' face, poking out from behind a termite mound. I've lost track of where the third lioness is. You can see how interested they are in those buffalo. They've been working hard this morning, and their work is by no means over. Look at that half trot, taking advantage of and moments inattention from a buffalo. She's going up over the wall. Let's go forward just one little bit. Get that branch out of Wium's way. No. Now I'll put a bigger one in your way. And now Rusty won't go into reverse. Okay. Clever. Using the dam wall as cover. That's what made her brave enough to race forward like that.
Amber's now drinking.
Okay. Amber Eyes has now gone back to drink. I'm going to stay with this lioness. Just because I think there's a greater chance that something could happen. She might launch another attack like she did before. Again, she needs the support of the rest of the pride. She's been left somewhat in the lurch. But these lionesses know what they're doing. And it could well be she's looking for an opportunity to chase the buffalo back towards the other two. Oh, there's nothing like a lion poised and coiled like that. And you just know that they're going to explode at any moment. She goes slinking over the dam wall. I'm going to try and stay high as much as possible. Let's go back to Amber Eyes quickly. We'll hear if anything changes from her side. There we go. She's going to make her way. I have to try and stay up as high as possible. All three of them coming. Or we may well not have signal. There was a place, there was a way around here. I'm sure there was. Lioness following intently what's happening. We're going to have, there's the other lioness in front of me. There's a buffalo off to the right. Okay, so just to paint the picture for you, two lionesses are moving behind. The one that went across the dam wall, I can still see. She's just in front of me. And the buffalo have sort of settled in a really dense patch of vegetation and a really tricky spot in terms of drainage lines as well. Either way, this view is going to be really, really tricky. But these lionesses are hungry and they don't have endless amounts of strength available to them. They're going to have to, in the next few hours, they're going to have to really do a serious push to catch these buffalo if they're going to be successful today. There we go, showing a little bit more patience. Buffalo grunting away at each other. Lioness moving to catch up. She's slinking forward. I think our best view, our best bet is going to be to try and stay high. There's one of the females making her way in. We're not going to have any choice if they decide to rush further on. We're going to have to go down and around, so there's a chance that you could lose our signal. We're trying to stay up on the crest for now, but the lions are going to push further towards those buffalo. Whee! Quick trip around Red Dam. While we loop around to get to these lions, back across to Brent, and we'll see you very shortly.
So we're in the area where Karula was spotted coming across. So they spotted her from the east and she's come in to this area here somewhere. So we're going very, very carefully and very quietly. I'm hoping we might hear some alarm calls. There's some kuru that we've just passed. And just trying to check for tracks as well. It's a bulldozer, I heard. I thought it was an alarm call, but it's a bulldozer moving rocks. So there's a big balanites tree on the southern boundary, and she said she was heading northwest, which is this area here. Checking for tracks there, Jeandre.
Never know.
Okay, I'll try to come around again.
So the balanites is about there. So this is the area she should be popping out in, theoretically. But we all know our queen. She likes to zig and zag. So So what we're doing is we're looking on top of the termite mounds, also on any major game path that might be coming this way. Wouldn't it be nice to have a double cat morning? Oh, we're looking for leopard like this. We're looking for that little shadow. It's quite nice because we know she's in a finite block, and it's surrounded by roads. But whether she's still deep inside or making her way through is still to be discovered.
Lions have come back across to Red Dam. Fortunately, Brent's signal not managing terribly well. I have to keep moving to get out of the way of the other vehicles as well. I've lost a lioness though. Oh, she's calling. Bit of light-hearted play there between the two before settling down for a drink. And for now, I think that spells the end of their efforts in hunting those buffalo. Still missing one female though, but there she comes. And I think that's that. They've decided that for now, catching those buffalo is going to be a very difficult task, possibly not worth the investment. Here we go. But if they can't catch a buffalo, then they might as well catch each other. Having a ball. An absolute whale of a time. You got space there, Trist? Have you got space? Cool. Awesome. A bit of light-hearted play after a very serious morning of attempting to hunt the buffalo. When in doubt, drink right in each other's space. You have the whole dam, but you have to be as close together as possible. So not a successful morning for the Nkuhumas females, but because it's still cool, the day is not yet over for them. But I think that they're exhausted now and they just want to have a drink. It's a beautiful sight. The sub-adult now almost indistinguishable from the rest of the pride. It's the one in the middle, now the one on the right, attempting to catch the older female's tail. I don't think we can really call her a sub-adult anymore. It was almost a year ago that I first saw her, and the most incredible sighting with her playing with her sister in the drainage line, not far from here at all, after they killed a buffalo in this area. She's now a year older and a year wiser. And if I had to pick a favorite, not that I have favorites of course, but if I absolutely had to pick, she would be mine. maybe not yet decided to give up. Maybe it was just time for a quick break, some play bonding, and then back to work once again. But with a certain degree of reluctance. It's a huge herd of buffalo, and it's got so many big dugger boys that will be capable of defending the rest of the group. Sometimes it's just better to find a nice pile of elephant dung and lie down in it. It's that typical head rub greeting. Oh, and then lionesses demonstrating their usual awareness of personal space. Why lie next to your pride member when you can lie basically on top of her? All an essential part of the bonds between these social cats, which is what's made them the apex predator out here, top of the food chain. A group of just 3 lionesses definitely has their work cut out for them. Oh, it's just been an exhausting day. The sub-adults come back to say, come on guys, there's buffalo there. Why aren't you helping me? Oh, she got such a fright. Very sweet. Shame, girls. Not successful today, or at least this morning. But then, of course, roughly 12% of lion kills initiated do actually result in a kill. So the odds very heavily stacked against them, particularly if they decide to tackle such a large animal as a buffalo with only 3 lionesses. Now, if they had a Birmingham boy with them, the situation would have changed completely. And there's a very good chance that they would have managed to catch that buffalo that the sub-adult caught. Oh, flopped, exhausted. We got so treated to that example of the playful nature of cats, and there's such an enjoyment to be derived from watching animals, especially wild animals, play. I think it's because it allows us to associate them more with our domestic animals, but also just because it shows a different, more light-hearted side to things. Joey, you were wondering if cheetah ever play the way that those lions did. Yes, males in coalitions will play in that way. But it's very, very common to see it as part of the bonding between members of a lion pride. You don't really see leopards doing it after a certain age, but cheetah and male coalitions will. Here's Amber Eyes, with her dark sewed, such distinctive eye colour. She's one of the oldest members of this pride. Justin, I know you were wondering about how old Amber Eyes is. She is probably, if I had to guess, she's probably at least around 8 or 9. To me, with her canines, the condition of her teeth, the darkness of her nose, and yes, I know that's not always an accurate gauging factor, but if you combine it with all of the other things involved, I would say that yes, she is a relatively old lioness. There's 2 older lionesses, 2 younger lionesses, and then the 1 sub-adult. One of the younger lionesses is missing. And off to go and have her cubs. Margaret from Kansas, you were wondering whether or not I think that Amber Eyes is pregnant. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to look at her properly. Is there a good chance that she is? Yes, she's been mating, but she was... Now I must think back, because I didn't see them, but as far as I know, she was seen mating with a male not all that long ago. So if she is pregnant, Margaret, it is very early stages of pregnancy. There's another female within this group, and it might be the one that's lying down near the sub-adult that apparently also looks quite pregnant. But I tell you what, let's change our perspective and our view slightly and try and get a different angle on them. Although this is quite a beautiful long-distance open view. But I'm just thinking maybe if we went down into the dam itself, we might have an interesting perspective. Although I think the fact that they've gone flat now might make that a bit more tricky. But it's not often we get to look at the lions from below them. Let's see. Let us experiment. And Zaibatsu, a new viewer, welcome to our sunrise safari. You were wondering about where is the boss of these lions, in other words, the big male lion. Well, it's an interesting thing about lions. What's our perspective going to be like from here? It'll be a new view. Different for the moment. It's an interesting thing about lions. And I encourage you to keep on sending through your questions. It's wonderful to have you on board with us. Lion prides don't have one boss. In fact, and no one boss only stays with one lion pride. What I mean by that is that the females are completely independent. They generally actually prefer to be away from the males if they can be, because the males have a tendency to steal their food. The Nkuhuma lionesses will protect their territory, their home range, and another pride of lions will protect lionesses, will protect theirs. And then you will get a group of males, one male or a group of males, that will be the bosses or the dominant males of an area. And they'll come and visit the prides every now and again, usually only when there's females that are ready to mate, sometimes just to steal their food. And then off they go again. And in general, lion pride, the boss is one of the females, or at least a couple of the females. They're the ones that lead the hunt. They're the ones that initiate it. I wanted to show you something in terms of the noses and what I was talking about in terms of aging the lionesses. Have a look at, if we can, the noses of both of these lionesses. There's a common fallacy that you can very accurately age a lioness by her nose. You can't. That being said, some lionesses from certain prides are genetically programmed that their noses do go darker with age. And I think that that applies to the Nkuhuma lionesses. Because there's the sub-adult at the back. She would be so kind as to look here. No, not so much. And then the slightly older lioness, but also one of the younger ones with an almost totally pink nose. And when we reposition, we'll have a moment to have a look at Amber Eyes' nose, which is almost completely pitch black. There you go. Look at that. That's one of the younger lionesses. I hear that you guys have been taking the most awesome screenshots. Isn't this a wonderful view? It's not often that we get looked down upon by the lionesses. They really truly are looking down, right down upon us. Brilliant opportunity. relaxing now after their probably relatively exhausting night. If they had caught, to finish off the conversation about the boss of the pride, if they had caught one of these buffalo, there is a distinct chance that one of the Birmingham boys, which are the dominant males in this area, would have come running through to join them and to take advantage of their hunting prowess. That being said, of course, we don't want to go too far in the opposite direction. Male lions are more than capable of hunting for themselves. Oh, look at all of those flies clustering around that injury on her face. Looks so... oh, exhausted. Nice view of her nipples. No sign of swelling. If she is pregnant, relatively early stages. Dessert, side plate size foot suddenly emerged and plopped on her head. Okay, let's reposition now. The sun's come out in a blazing way. Oh, we've got another opportunity, very brief opportunity, to look at Amber Eyes' nipples. Didn't look like she was pregnant at all. Hello, Curl. And in this kind of light, with this grass and the sky, they look like picture book lines. There's thick spines on her tongue, rasping away at the fur, trying to get rid of any ticks and other such things. Our leopard's tongue is rough, just like your domestic cat's tongue, but even more so. And their tongues actually so well adapted to their diet that they can and do strip meat from the bone by licking like that. If they exert the right amount of pressure, the tongue doesn't just get used for cleaning, it can also be used as part of, in combination with those teeth, as part of their feeding method. And Justin, moments like this are incredible. I think for all of us as safari guides, exceptionally exciting, having witnessed a buffalo hunt like that. You were wondering what the perks and the downsides of being a safari guide are. Justin, there are so many perks, I wouldn't know where to begin. Time spent with these incredible animals, to be fortunate enough to spend time with them, is obviously the most clear one. To be in a position where you are constantly learning is another. And just being in the bush in general, away from the city life and all of its trappings, and as well as all of its noise, is certainly an advantage. There's a lot more of almost realism to be found here, even if it is an escape of its own, in its own way. Disadvantages? I mean, those are just a couple of the perks. There are so many, I wouldn't know where to start in terms of naming them. Disadvantages? Well, I suppose long hours are one. Very, very long days. And I'm answering this as a safari guide for a lodge, rather than necessarily what it is that we do, which is slightly different. Big thing to remember about being a safari guide is that it is a people-person job. It's not about the animals in the bush. You will spend 90% of your time, work time, dealing with people, be they guests or other staff members. So it's not a place to come if you think you want to escape dealing with people. Your responsibility is to your guests, whether it be taking them on game drive or hosting them throughout dinner. It's a very intense living situation. You live and you work and you socialize with the same people day after day, which is wonderful if you're as fortunate as we are in terms of having a fantastic team. But it does mean that you are very much confined. So everything seems to be more intense than it necessarily is. Little disagreements and little frustrations. Well, that's the most honest answer I can give you, Justin. There's other things. There's sadness watching things go wrong in the animal kingdom, particularly as a result of human actions. That is always terribly frustrating and difficult to deal with, especially because as a safari guide, you find you have very little power to change such things. Nkuhumas having a really jolly good clean, and I think we've enjoyed our perspective from here. Oh, doing a little bit of yoga. No, she's definitely not pregnant. Oh, and there's some aloe grooming between the females as well. Of course, some brilliant work from Wium. Some of you, oh wow, that's a very cool shot. That's awesome. Tristan in the background. But yes, the person who is responsible for bringing you these incredible images is Wium this morning, the wildebeest. His camera work is always exceptional, and today is no exception. Flopped back again. Nancy G, you were watching them clean and preen each other. You were wondering if lions get hairballs like domestic cats do. Yes, they do. And they've got the added disadvantage in terms of their hairballs of also getting little shards of bone and hoof that they also have to cough up in those situations. Plus, it's not just the hair that they lick from themselves, but also the hair that they lick from their prey that causes those boluses that they then have to cough up. You very often will see a lioness munching away on the grass, trying to bring up a hairball or something similar, or make her stomach feel a little bit better. Oh, quick scratch behind the ear. And I think that these ladies are planning this for the rest of their morning. Oh, I stand corrected. She chose her moment well there. Are you guys going back to the hunt? What are your plans? Well, there we go. I'm not sure if they've just moved across into the shade or if they've headed back to carry on hunting. Let's just wait and see. Yeah, there she goes as well. Bit of dirt around her neck. Oh, there's something really nice for you. Sorry, just before we disappear off and follow those lines, I don't think there's any major urgency. Let's have a look at the tracks there in the mud. They look absolutely enormous from where they came down to drink. Tristan, are those Ngala Lalapanzi there, or are they going across the dam wall? Okay. Let's just chat to Tristan quickly and we'll figure out whether we need to go around or whether we need to come back to where he is. not really space for more than one person to squeeze past here. Okay, while we reposition, get another view on those lionesses. It seems as though Brent has picture, so we'll send you back over to him.
So we're back. We're not sure for how long, but we're still on the search for Queen Karula. I think she's going to pop out somewhere here. I had a quick walk into the block, and I saw some warthogs sprinting away from this general area, so I'm hoping that maybe they spotted her. So we're just checking very carefully around here. You can see we're on the edge of a little river system, and it's a river system she favors quite a bit. Come on, Queen Karula. Grace us with your presence. Well, at least we know she's definitely in Jeandre. Someone actually physically saw her cross into Jeandre. So that is a good start. But there is this myriad of little river systems here that can be quite challenging. I'd even take a rosette about now, just one rosette through the bushes. I'm just going to stop and listen for a second and show you how beautiful that false marula is that's changing colors at the moment. You see the yellow and green. You can see, look at that. Lovely colors. Now we're listening for not only mammal alarm calls, but bird alarm calls. Birds are excellent at helping us find leopards. But alas, not a sound, not a peep apart from a crested francolin just falling normally. Okay, well, quickly back to Jamie. She's going to give you one last view of the lions before she makes space for another game drive vehicle.
Promises to be one last relatively spectacular view of our lions as Amber Eyes walks right past the car. Just keep watching as the lionesses move past us. Oh, and she's going to lie down right in front of us. The others coming along to the side, surrounded by lions, lionesses, one lying down in front, one standing off to her left, and another one's coming in from the right now. Here she comes, and tuck around. She's going to move a bit further into the shade. As you can see, it's a half sunny, half cloudy day. Absolutely perfect weather for watching lions. She's not really going anywhere at present. Quite happy to sit right in front of the car. You can see how close she is to us. Right. busy giving herself a little bit of a clean up she gets. And she's moving to join the rest of them. And I think this is where they plan on spending the rest of their day, disappearing off to find some shade. And that is that for our lion sighting. We're going to leave them be for now. And say farewell to our lions as they head off into the bush to find a place to sleep. All right, I'm going to... Oh, no. Right, guys, we need to start heading back to camp. There's lots we have to get done today, so we're going to leave the lions for now. And we're going to say a big thank you to all of you for joining us. It's been a fantastic morning. Got to spend time watching the Nkuhumas hunting buffalo. We'll be back here for the sunset safari this afternoon. In the meantime, have a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. Wium, thank you for your fantastic camera work, as well as to Rebecca and to Lou in final control. All right, bye-bye everyone. We'll catch you later.
So we're still searching for Karula. We thought we might come check around the treehouse waterhole, and all we've got here is some male impalas. So it doesn't look like she's got here, and we were really hoping to try find her before the end of the sunrise safari, but alas, she has avoided us. I'll be hot on her trail again for the sunset safari, that's for sure. Too many impalas around here. Oh, what do you think, Jeandre? One last gander back behind us? Yes, I agree. One last gander back to the east of us. Okay, but we do apologize. We do know there's a lot of technical difficulties at the moment, but we are working as hard as we can to get all of those sorted. We are out in the middle of the bush, so sometimes getting a spare part is not that easy, but hopefully in the near future we'll have all of that sorted and right as rain. But we're still the eternal optimists, hoping for Karula to say goodbye. Come on, the Queen. She really does like this area here. There's a couple of big blocks with no roads in them, and she likes to hunt through the little monkey orange thickets that hold a lot of duiker and steenbok, which are her seems to be her two preferred prey species. And we've seen her all around here with kills in the trees. So I am also not only looking on the ground, but looking up in the marulas. But lovely to see the Nkuhuma ladies with Jamie, and a bit of action I hear. So that must have been great. Unfortunately, no one got down to Cheetah Plains, but hopefully Jamie will be able to get there this evening. Okay, so she was last seen in this block. We just wanted to check in case she managed to sneak across towards the treehouse waterhole. We have checked this road, but there are some really hard patches. I'm quite confident she's still in here somewhere, and it is quite a big block. I did take a little walk, but alas, no luck. The ground's a bit hard after the rain. walk into the open, please, Karula. Oh, it looks like she's going to avoid us for this sunrise safari. And another impala hiding in the trees over there. So it doesn't look like she came this way, otherwise he would have been snorting much better. But thank you again for joining us on this sunrise safari. And again, apologies for the tech difficulties we've been having. We hope to have them fixed as soon as possible. But yet, Jamie got a wonderful sighting of the Nkuhuma ladies trying to grab a buffalo. Very exciting stuff. I'm sure you must have all been on the edge of your game drive seats. But we will be out and about again in a few short hours for the sunset safari. And hopefully Queen Karula will be around. And we're just sitting here hoping to hear an alarm call, anything that will let us know exactly where she is. From Jeandre and our point of view, even though we're a black screen,